So I call it prompt engineering for ChatGPT. We're going to cheat a little bit because right now in the video space, VO3 is miles and miles and miles ahead of ChatGPT. Sora, we're going to share examples of both. So there are cases where I'm gonna leap out to other things, but in general, you can call it prompt engineering for anything, because anything you learned here that works for VO is going to work for Sora and vice versa. So with that all being said, we'll see if my plan works. So the first thing I want to talk about a little bit is one of the features of ChatGPT that if you're not on the $20 a month version, I don't think you get access to it at all, but it is an incredibly, incredibly useful tool. All right, so this is probably one of the best kept secrets, I guess, in chat. And it's really, really, really simple to use. So if I just go over to my chat, and then here you'll see this little tools. And down here it says run deep research. So right now, let's have an idea. What's on someone's mind? What's a challenge or something that you're trying to do that's just a little bit complicated for you right now? Shout it out. Anybody?
Churn analysis.
Churn analysis? Give me a paragraph about what that is to you.
Trying to predict which stores leave before they leave.
So I'm just going to type a prompt. I think you guys can see that, and I'll sort of type it as I go. This is the reason we're doing this first is this can take 5 or 10 minutes for it to complete. So I just wanted to set this off, and then we'll go get into other more interactive stuff. So I'm going to write a prompt, and I'm not even going to write a perfectly good one because it takes a long time. And you're going to see that even with a bad prompt, deep research is your best friend. So at least I'm going to give it a little bit. I'm going to say, hey, as a data analysis expert in POS data, I need your help to do some deep research to give me the background and best practice to figure out how to churn. And we want to do this based upon the data in the POS, right? So this is actually trying to find why, say, a restaurant customer is going to leave the restaurant, not so much why somebody's going to leave your company.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. The POS company for POS, ask me any questions you may have to help verify, and then do deep research for me on this, while covering it from all angles and giving me examples of data to analyze, and even some ChatGPT prompts. So if that's not the craziest, worst prompt you have ever seen in a prompting course, I challenge you to find one worse. So the key to deep research, and as you're going to sort of hear a common theme through this whole process today, is you need to sort of get to the mindset that when you prompt chat, you need to prompt chat the way you would ask a coworker to do something. So one of the habits we all fall into is the thought that chat answers so great. Well, it doesn't. It answers so quickly with something that sounds so great until you read it a little deeper to find out it has no soul and maybe it's not as great, that we get lazy thinking it can answer anything and it can read our minds. And it can't. It just makes up what you didn't tell it. And then we have to go through, you know how no, that's not what I wanted. I needed it this way. No, say it again. And you go through like 20 different prompts trying to get your data the way you want it. And I'm sorry, but that's your fault. So one of the things we're going to get into today is trying to figure out how to give it what it needs. And it's actually pretty easy. Ask it to ask you. So I've clicked deep research here. We have this crappy prompt, but we've done the magic word. And that's like, hey, ask me questions to clarify. So let's see what happens. So it's going to run, okay, that's great. Well, I'm going to need to know what kind of, so Shoshana, you're going to help me quickly answer these questions. So what kind of POS system you're referring to? I guess we're going to say retail because then it covers everyone, right? So we're going to say retail. Type of data, yes, all of the above. Again, we're just playing. Are you looking to analyze churn at the merchant level, entire business leaves, or user specific? I think we're looking for user specific. For restaurants, customers, or a clothing stores customers. And we're going to go for Canada and the USA. Do we already have historical data? Yes. No, we're going to say no. We need your help to create them. Okay, so there you go. I answered. So just in that little thing, did anybody just capture the main point of prompting? If you get it to ask you questions, then it's going to make you think a little harder. And if you think about it, if you found one of your employees or one of your coworkers at the water cooler and asked them to do this, wouldn't they ask you questions just like that? So that's kind of interesting. So now it's starting research. It's going to go on. It's going to give us a list of all the things it's researching. It's going to do all kinds of really cool stuff. And it can take anywhere from 5 to 10 minutes to complete this process. So we're not going to wait because that would be boring. So now we're going to move on to my favorite two things, of which one I've already beat you up on a little bit. And that is 2 $1 million secret prompt techniques. Everyone I share them with goes and tries them, and they're just immediately like, holy cow, my whole world changed. And the first one is the one I just said. Ask chat to ask you questions to get clarity before it undertakes your task. It will change your world. So before you begin, you ask me any questions, right? So this is exactly what you type, and get a document going, which is tip number 3 here. Get a document going where you have all your tips and tricks that you use and all your prompt examples, prompt starters and stuff like this, so you don't have to type as much. It'll be faster. Or, as I'll share later, just talk to chat. You don't actually have to do this all by typing. So before you begin, so you've written your prompt. Before you begin, ask me any questions you need to perform this task at the highest possible level. That will change your world of prompting. So you can have the crappiest prompt in the world, and you're basically saying, chat, fix my prompt for me. Once you used it, what happened? How much of a difference do you feel it made to you?
Yeah, it's really good because it's like chat telling you what it wants. So
And then how about the output? Did you have to do as much back and forth after you answered the questions?
no, because I always would have to do a lot of back and forth, but it's definitely helped.
Cool. So absolutely worth trying. Make it a habit. I actually find myself sometimes forgetting to do it, and then I go back and forth with chat, and I'm like, oh, Dennis, you idiot. Don't do that. Don't be me. Be better than me. Put that in almost every prompt you do, and everything gets better. Whether it's creating an image, whether it's creating a video, it doesn't matter. It will walk you through things to do. So the wrong way would be, tell me how my POS can compete with Toast and Shift 4. Okay, well, I'm curious. So what happens if we just do that? All right, strategic positioning. Win where they can't compete easily. Out-support them. Bundle to beat them. I like Smart Stack more than Bundle, just saying. Competitive pricing without racing to the bottom, of course. Features they don't offer. So this is pretty comprehensive, right? On a really, really simple, crappy prompt. And if we actually take a look at the other way, so the better way is to prompt like this. So as a POS and payments expert researcher, I need you to do some searching to find out how my small POS company, or large or whatever, and you can give it its name so it uses you. I've asked it to use a fictitious one, can compete with the giant POS companies like Toast and Shift 4, and you can pick whichever ones you're up against, right? Before I begin, please ask me any questions you need answers to in order to do this task to the best of your abilities. And it's going to come back with a list of questions like this, right? Target market segment. What kind of businesses are you serving? Quick service, fine dining. Who are your clients? So I've actually also asked it to give me the answers of a fictitious POS company so that we don't have to do a lot of work here. So we primarily serve independent restaurants, businesses, real estate, 2 to 10 locations, our geographical scope, right? So it's asking me, what's your geographical scope? Do you operate locally, specific regions? Answer. Currently operate in North America. Ask core features and differentiators. Answer. So this is all of the stuff that it came up with to ask me. And I took the time to answer it in detail so that we can do a cheat. So all of these are the things that continue to ask. Technology and integration. Cloud-based, on-premise, hybrid. Answer. I told you it was gonna be a lot of text, but I'm just setting you up for the easy part. So now if we were to actually run this prompt and say, as a POS and payments company, when you're testing, it's always best to start a new chat for everything, or it'll be half remembering your old stuff, and then things will not be very good in a demo. Note to the audience, whoever has to do a ChatGPT demo. So we're just going to ask it the same thing, and it's going to probably come back with about the same questions, and that's why I did this in advance, because it would take forever for me to type all this out. So instead, we're just going to go back here, and we're going to say, it's going to come back with these questions, and I'm going to say copy and paste. So we may have missed some. I'm going to go with this. And then it's probably going to say, great. And right away, you can see that it has enough information that it's running off to search the web. It's not just pulling information from its context, which means I think January is its last context. So 6 months old data. If you don't do this, you're getting 6 months old data. And now it's starting to say, okay, great. Well, here's your competitive landscape, right? Strength of Toast and Shift 4. Toast offers this, blah, 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 gives you links to the articles so that if you are going out in competition to talk to others about this, you actually have the whole research, just like Perplexity does. Shift 4, this is what it does. Market alternatives, your competitive levers. So now because you've given it so much, it's sort of telling you what your good parts are compared to their good parts, okay? And then tactical next steps. Show a clear dollar save versus Toast. I recommend doing a graph. Right, Toast gives a bunch of stuff up front, and then it charges you like crazy and increases your cost, or increases their processing costs. So show a graph of what your cost is in 3 years versus Toast's, and they can see your line all of a sudden intersecting with Toast's, and it's very visual to see that, oh my God, Toast cost me $11,000 more in 3 years. Right? So learning from competitor weaknesses, why this works. So I'm asking you, basic, custom, specific to you. Any comments on that? Anybody? Just speak out loud.
Can you show it to us side by side again? I want to see the difference.
Sure. So here we've got it's still good stuff, but it's basic and it's not tied into you. It's just general information. Own a vertical or micro niche. So Toast goes after restaurants. So, Shift 4 goes after these guys. So go and work on something that isn't them, right? So right here, you can dominate or do a niche they don't like. Out support them. This is probably one of the biggest way I hear from our reseller customers, how they try to compete by out supporting them, which works sometimes doesn't. Bundle to beat them. This is a huge tactic, right? We sell daily Facebook marketing for $25 a week to help people bundle, to give them something to get them in the door before they get shut down because they use, the regular POS pitches. Competitive pricing without racing to the bottom, right? Showing how your pricing may look expensive compared to getting a bunch of free stuff, but if you run that graph, you see that it isn't. When we get into here, it's now very specific to you. So it's talking specifically about your competitors. It's giving you strengths and weaknesses. And then it's talking about where you can press competitive levers instead of just some general ideas that may or may not apply to you. So this is dialed in to you versus just the general stuff that you would then take and spend a couple of hours to fit to you. You'll have way less fitting with this. Does that make sense, everyone?
Yep, looks great.
Cool. Okay, so notice I got you going on a deep research. So this is sort of I don't have time to wait for deep research, and it's going to ask me the same questions anyways. So what I would normally do is I would come here and run this, get the questions and answers, because deep research probably can ask me the same ones. And then I would have my immediate look, and then I'd have my 5 to 10 minute look to see if I'm on path. So doing this one is a much quicker answer, but not as deep as deep research. But it'll give me the idea that, hey, what I'm looking for can be answered, and a little bit deeper information would help me a lot. Or this is all I need. I don't need to use deep research. With deep research, you only get so many times to use it a month for your $20 a month. So you don't want to be deep researching everything. So I use this as my preliminary step to deep research. It's not as deep, but it'll give me an idea if what I'm trying to find, I've conveyed my question right to see that. So, this solves problems all over your company. I use this kind of approach to almost everything: internal problems, external problems, customers' problems. I'll run something like this for a customer as I have a phone call with them. I spend 10 minutes and I send them this report, and they're just ecstatic about me giving them a bunch of ideas they never had to solve their problem. And what did it take me? 10 minutes and listening to their problem when I was on the phone with them. Everybody likes to start with good stuff or bad stuff, and most of the time it's bad stuff and frustrations. So if I can ever find a frustration to solve, I do, and it takes me 10 minutes. I cut and paste it. I tell them, hey, I just did some quick research for you on ChatGPT. There's a bunch of good stuff in here, and there you go. Because most people, as we've just seen, almost everyone on this call has never used this approach with chat to realize you can get this kind of stuff out of it real easy. This could give you the way to make your Facebook post. This could give you marketing advice. This will help you make your prompts basically for the next step. So if we go back to see, oh, look at that. Chat has completed its deep research. So what do we have? Well, it said it's going to check on all of this. So diagnosing customer churn in POS systems. I think we probably won't read through this all, but let's see what fun nuggets. Churn rates. Yeah, so there you go. So it's first justifying why it's probably a good idea. Churn rates tend to be high, 20% of merchants leaving each year. This means if you start the year with 1,000 merchants, you might have 800 by the end of the year. Some churn is involuntary because businesses close down, especially in sectors like restaurants. Oh yeah, we know that. This is voluntary churn. So why churn analysis matters. Key data metrics for diagnosing churn. And I can cut and paste this for you so that you have it.
Thanks.
Right. Or you can run it yourself, test, but that's okay. I'll cut and paste it anyways. Key metrics: transactions volume and frequency, recency of activity, feature usage, payment processing volume, support tickets and feedback. Yep. So there's all your data sources that could be used. Early warning signs and patterns of churn, declining product usage. So obviously if you start seeing their number of transactions going down, extended inactivity, not using it all, reduced feature engagement, using less and less, spikes in errors or issues, customer silent mode, right? A customer that was always calling you suddenly stops calling you, probably looking around, a little bit embarrassed to talk to you, a loss of key contact. Okay, so then it says analyzing methods and modeling approaches. So it sort of gave you the overview, gave you information you didn't have, and now it's getting into the guts. Diagram above, yeah, that's cool. Didn't give me a diagram. Welcome to chat. That said, if you ever get something like this, diagram above, if you copy and paste this and say, make me the diagram, so this is some of the ways that I creatively use this. I'll say, so this is a great concept, but you did not give me any diagram. Please make the diagram that illustrates this. So then I can go back up to reading what I'm reading. The better you make your initial prompt, the better your deep research gets. So some of the stuff I'm going to teach you later on is going to get you to really get your prompts better and do some things called prompt chaining and just making your prompts much better. And when you feed deep research a well-structured prompt with all of the steps and things you want it to do, my God, it'll literally pop out at the end of it JSON code to drop into an editor and make an app out of it. Like, it's crazy how good this gets. I could spend 5 hours going through all the details of this with you guys, and we still would not be there. So I'm not going to do that. Don't worry, because this is really cool, but also kind of boring. But this is the place where you will get lost on your own when you start playing with it. Yeah, go ahead, Shoshana.
Oh, no, it's amazing. Like, it basically created a whole research paper around your topic.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. So once I've done the first step, if I just go lazy, and this is the lazy step that we did, and then this is the getting it to ask me questions, and then if I take all this information and get it to do this, so if it's the same topic, so if I would have done all 3 examples on churn, we would have seen a light overview, a little bit deeper, and then really deep. When you have a customer, they say, how do you get sticky? Well, you get sticky and you stop churn by providing more value. How do you provide more value? Your support people need to be trained that if a customer is talking about something that's really bothering them, that somehow it gets to whoever is in charge of running the deep research module, which, by the way, if you pay $200 a month for the pro version, you get as much deep research as you want. But just imagine if you had a feedback loop built into your support where people were complaining about an actual problem, asking you how to configure your software to solve it, when in fact there's a whole bunch of business processes wrapped around making a successful solution. What if you just took, how long did that take me to do, guys? We're only at 26 minutes and I've done like 4 other things. So it's not a long time. And then the only thing you want to be very careful about with deep research is whoever's going to send it must read it and edit it, because it's going to give you an overview of everything it can find. Some of that stuff might be highly targeted to a feature of one of your competitors that you don't have. So never just send raw research, because it will be very comprehensive and you might want to steer them in your direction more than someone else's by not having those few paragraphs that would make them go, oh, hey, or if it's referencing one of them, you might want to delete that reference. You might just want to let the text exist. You don't want to give them a hard-coded link to your competitor. Okay, so you gotta do it. Now, you can do that in an easy way. You can just say, you could go and say, redo this without any links to articles. and make sure none of the, actually I can't do this because we didn't do it. If I would have done the context where we gave it the whole context of us, you'd be able to take this and say, don't put any of the links in and make sure none of your research you have given is talking about a specific competitors. I don't need to type it. So make sure the research you've done is not talking about any specific competitors' features. And then it would literally just rewrite it with that. But you'd have to have all the context of you said, ask me all the questions you have to do this job properly. Does that make sense? This is how you take the deep research and turn it into that sticky tool where you're now always helping your customers. Every time they have a little problem, you're suddenly doing the research and sending them a document. And 2 documents a year, they'll remember you forever, especially when that 2 documents a year can do something great. An interesting example, we're going to get into something called GPTs shortly. I made a GPT. I shared it with a friend of mine. He was working at one of the biggest restaurant printer companies on the planet. And as he took the output that I had created on a cool tool in a GPT that I was testing, he took that output to his boss, and his boss went, oh my God, you just found a multi-million-dollar gap in our marketing that all of our competitors are exploiting and we've missed. So do you think they're curious who that AI guy was that he has a friend? Right? So just know that when you're giving this kind of stuff out, the impact can be outsized to your customer, and that makes them remember you. And then when, good old Toast or whoever your competitor is pops by, they're not quite as excited because you've done far more than just provide them a POS or merchant services or whatever your core business is. Okay, so let's get back to secret number 2. So secret number 2, remember we talked about sometimes you go back and forth and back and forth and back and forth, and then you finally get that piece of content the way you wanted it, but you're exhausted and you're wondering if you could have written it faster yourself. Well, guess what you just effectively did without realizing it? You just trained chat on what kind of output you're looking for when you give it that kind of a question. So what should you do? Well, you should just go at the end of all of that, you should say, look at the context of this entire chat and write me a single prompt or a prompt chain I can use to get my end result as efficiently as possible for similar requests. And it's going to take everything that went on and summarize it and give you exactly what to say to it. Don't forget to ask me any questions before you start. You're going to paste that, and boom, the next time you are not going to have to go through the back and forth and back and forth. So what's secret number 3? I just gave you $2 million secrets. Could there possibly more? This is probably a $2 million secret all on its own. I have a number of documents that are always live on my desktop. And those documents are groups of these kinds of things. So once you've found the prompt to do the thing you like, you should have a document that you just cut and paste it in, so you can easily cut and paste from it instead of having to try to search through. So if you don't do this, step, you're going to be like me. How much do you think I can find about what I did in the history of my ChatGPT? Because I have a couple of things here. You see the sidebar, guys? Yeah. So I don't know where it is, and their search function is not good. So you're not going to be able to find that piece of information once you're using chat as much as you will, now that I've shown you how to get the most out of it and not have it frustrate you all the time. So this is the way to do it. You get it off to a Word document so that you have all the hard-won prompting and things that you found. Sounds simple, sounds crazy. A Word document. We could stop there and you guys could go home, and I think you'd all have massive value. But as you know me, I just tried to get all that in the first 30 minutes, so now we can get going. So now we're going to talk about, not quite as much fun, but equally powerful, maybe more powerful, no, equally powerful, about prompting. So structured prompting. So the reality is prompting has evolved. So the funny part is a lot of the stuff we're going to cover here, you've already seen bits and pieces of just from going through the previous examples. So old prompting was, write me an article about soup. Right. Okay. Today's prompting is layered, dynamic, iterative, and often multi-step. So one of the next things we're going to get into is multi-step prompting, where you actually tell it to do this, and then based upon the answer it gets from that, then do this, and then do this, and then do this, all in a single prompt. So this takes the idea of what I just showed you with deep research and takes it to a whole nother level, but we'll start simple. So large gains come from knowing what the model needs and feeding it smartly. So much like the water cooler conversation, if you've got a developer and you're not a real developer and you go to the developer and say, hey, I need you to write me a quick program that'll analyze the nutritional content of my bowl of soup, I'm pretty sure he's not going to run off and do it. I'm pretty sure he's going to come back with a whole bunch of questions because you asked a crappy question, right? You gave a malformed task. Yet we do it to chat all the time. I do it. I get lazy. So structured prompting. What does this mean? Well, role stacking and perspective switching is one of the best things. So for example, a bad prompt, write an FAQ about EMV terminals. Okay, I want everybody to write what's an EMV terminal. Or someone speak up. Who knows what an EMV terminal is? I didn't. I had to ask chat. I didn't know.
It's a credit card acceptance machine that takes chip.
Right. And it actually stands for...
You are a Mastercard, Visa.
There it is.
Yeah.
So then, if we just simply take the simple prompt, what's an EMV terminal? Stands for Europay, Mastercard, Visa. Global standard for chip-based payment cards, EMV terminals, point-of-sale device, blah, 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 blah. Why do you need one? Right? So this is the FAQs that it came up with that simple prompt. How does it work? What's it all about? Right? Now, if we went and did a proper prompt, an expert prompt, and we're going to see act as a POS onboarding lead and retail tech copywriter, generate a 7-question FAQ that addresses objections from small business owners new to EMV. Use plain language and anticipate their fears. So all of a sudden now we have, what's an EMV terminal and do I really need one? It lets you accept chip cards, the ones customers dip instead of swipe. These chips help prevent fraud. Since 2015, if you don't have one and someone uses a fake card, you're responsible. That's a whole lot better than the definition of. Wouldn't you agree? So as we use a proper prompt, we've given it a tone, right? So we've said, as a retail tech copywriter, right? We've given it a specific task, 7-question FAQ that addresses objections from small business owners. So we haven't said we want to know the objections of a stadium owner that does 70,000 nachos in a ball game, right? New to EMV. So we've gone even further. We don't even want the people that are experienced with it. We want the newbies that has no idea what it is. And then the key, what kind of language do you want? Plain language. We don't want techie speak. We also want to do one of the biggest things. In sales, what are you trying to do? Hey, you should use this EMV machine. It's going to be better. Oh, scary technology. I don't know what it is. Ooh. So you want to overcome their fears in your FAQs. And then sure enough, if you take a look at these answers, right? I've never had a problem with fraud. Why upgrade now? You're lucky, but fraud is on the rise. Thieves often target small businesses that don't yet use chip technology because they're easier to exploit. So yeah, your lottery ticket may expire, so you better get on board with the new technology. So without beating on this, is this helping people to see how dramatically different your output can be with just a few more words in your prompt? And is it sort of clear the kind of things you're trying to encapsulate into a prompt? Do we have any questions on this at this point?
Oh, okay. Interesting.
Okay. Who's next?
Thanks.
Yeah, you're welcome.
I don't know. I'm just kind of listening and find all this very interesting about keeping a file to do it. And I guess I just recently had to figure out how to code an email by myself, and going back and forth was hard because trying to get ChatGPT to help me with it, I had to come up with one, it spit it out, and no matter how detailed I got, I felt like it would either change after every reiteration,
Yep.
even if I only said like, make this one small detail and keep everything the same, like it would change everything.
Yeah, that brings up a fantastic learning point. Thank you for that question. Okay, so one of the reasons why getting your upfront prompt to be more detailed is there was another study that just came out showing that chat loses about 70% of what you taught it up front as you get deeper and deeper doing that slight fixing method. So you're absolutely right to pick up on the fact that no matter how much you pushed it around, it just never seemed to give you the right thing. It's good for 2 or 3 pushes, and then it's actually starting to forget most of the context it was given up front. So as soon as you find yourself going 2 or 3 deep, abandon and start over. That's where you do the old trick of, hey, based upon what I've asked you so far, write me a prompt that will allow me to get this all at once, start a brand new chat, start over, and it'll bring you back better stuff. And you go through that iterative process 2 or 3 times and you'll get there way faster. Because yeah, it actually starts to get dumber and dumber and dumber the more times you do it. And the other way to solve your problem, even if it's getting dumber, is instead of saying, oh no, I want you to keep everything else the same, go back to your original prompt, copy it, paste it, and say, do all of this, but change that, so that you've re-given it the context of what it was doing. So that's 2 different ways to handle that. One is sort of the cheat code to just get through it quick. If you don't say things like, do it all the same and do this, right? So that'd be, again, think about it, you're having a conversation with somebody and you just told them to do it, and then you talk back and forth and you said, okay, well, do everything I told you to do, and but change this. It's gonna be the same thing, right? Even a human's gonna go, yeah, I sort of remember I had it, and yeah, no. Try to stay away from doing the simple one-liners that are easy to do that chat seems to accept. But yes, the quality goes down, 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 down. Does that help? Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Yeah. So give it the context again, or better yet, get it to summarize the prompt, tweak that prompt, start over, and you'll probably get there in 1 or 2 steps. And you might have to do 2 or 3 rounds of that, depending how complex the content is. And then once you're done, what are you going to do? You're going to say, make me 1 prompt, and you're going to copy that and put it where? In your document. And next time you spit that stuff out instantly.
That was good, because I run into the same problem.
Perfect.
Yep. I guess, and maybe this is a different topic, but do you have like, is ChatGPT the best tool for kind of this base as kind of your base AI tool, and then there's all these other spin-offs? Are there other?
In my opinion, trying to chase them all is a problem. So I am not going to tell you that at this moment in time, Chat is the best at everything. It's not, but I can tell you that every time someone else is better, 4 weeks or 5 weeks later, Chat catches up, and then Chat goes ahead, and then 4 or 5 weeks later, the other one catches up or goes ahead. So my real honest belief is you need to pick one you love and use it and keep using it. Chat, because of some of the things we're going to cover next, really is a front runner, although most of them are adding in things like GPTs. So all the stuff we're doing right now, we're talking about how to do stuff at the prompt level. There's ways we can actually make it remember everything. So you just answer the same 4 questions every time and it spits out exact content for you, which we're going to get to in a minute. So yes, I believe that Chat at this point is still the one to follow and still the one to stay on top of. It's like your Swiss Army knife. Is it the best knife in the world? Probably not. But learning all of them or trying to keep up with all of them, I struggle to do it, and this is what I do. So, right. So yes, I would say Chat is very good, which is why I pick it as the base. We're going to go cheat on Chat a little bit later. You know, it's not perfect at everything.
Yeah. I mean, I had the similar sentiment, but every day you hear a new story about some other AI tool that does something amazing. So,
well, and the funny part is, most of the stories, again, we'll cover some noise here. Most of the noise in the marketplace is someone telling you this tool is better because that tool is probably built on ChatGPT, but they're trying to sell you that tool. And all they've done is create some really good prompts, stick it in a box, and now they want to sell it to you for $25 a month, when you just need to learn how to do your prompts better, and you can keep doing it for your $20 a month in Chat. Does that make sense?
Yep.
So a lot of the times they're trying to sell you something else. So the story's great. Kurt, what do you have? Oh, there's Kurt.
I know that it's sort of like a robot, right? So you're not talking to a person, but if you were talking to a person, you'd get more out of them probably if you were polite and like, you know,
A chat
more social. Does it make a difference if you?
No, absolutely not. All you're doing is wasting words, wasting tokens, wasting time.
Okay.
The more the direct you are, the better. You know, the latest versions of everything across the board have become a bit myopic, and they'll give you an idea and then they'll defend their idea even when it's wrong. It's irritating as crap. So I've found I sometimes have to really get aggressive with Anthropic to make it stop doing that within the Bolt app, which has probably got that master prompt that's telling it to do that. Where if I do it in regular straight Anthropic, it doesn't do that as much.
And one of the things that I found in doing some prompts is when you're trying to do some research, you might ask Chat to act as, if you're looking for like an expert opinion in a field, you might want to ask Chat to act as the 3 top experts in a particular field and create a similar prompt like what you're asking. And in that regard, you can do some research on your own where it will provide you what, instead of an individual person, it'll amalgamate 3 people and give you
so that's prompt forking, which is coming up. And you're exactly right. So you can literally say, I want you to do this task and I want you to behave this way. And then it'll actually give you the 3 renditions of everything it does. Absolutely. If you want to see different tone.
Yeah, that's one of the things I was thinking about while you were presenting this. But
yeah, absolutely. So and that gets into, I mean, from there, you're getting very, very close to multi-step prompts, which we're going to get into. So look at that. Prompt forking. Imagine that. Okay, so Kurt has completed the prompt forking section of the. So prompt forking is exactly what Kurt said. You could say, behave like this kind of expert, that kind of expert, the other expert, so you can get a marketer's opinion, a developer's opinion, and a lawyer's opinion. But then you can also go for tone. Give it to me in a grade 7 level language. Give it to me in a university level language. So prompt forking is just where you toss in sort of what kind of versions of it you want, and that can be done all within the same prompt. It's just another line that says, I want you to do this, that, or the other thing. Does that make sense? I don't know if we need to spend a ton of time, but does the general principle make sense? And is that what you were thinking, Kurt?
Yeah, that's the idea that I had. I didn't know it was called prompt forking.
Yeah. So that's the term for it, prompt forking. Don't worry, everybody has their own terms. It's way too new for any term to have stuck, but Chat itself calls it prompt forking, which just means it learned it from somewhere long ago. So that allows you to get a lot more flavor. So if you're doing some research, like for example, you want to do the deep research on churn. So if you told it to respond back to you like a developer, give me the developer's perspective, give me the end user restaurant or the end user liquor store perspective, and give me the CEO of a POS company's perspective, that deep research would come out showing you all the angles of churn. Okay. Everybody okay with this concept? Do we need to do some examples? Okay.
I'm good.
So one of the next thing, which is kind of fun, is image creation. Now, image creation is hard to demo, but we're going to try to do 7 minutes of image creation only now. So, but in the end, image creation, ChatGPT 4.0 is your friend. And the reason why it's your friend is, as of about a month and a half ago, maybe 2 months ago at the most, it now is almost like your own private Photoshop. The prompting matters, but it doesn't matter that much. But it as you use it more and more, you'll start to get your own sort of version of prompts. And then we can talk about a GPT to have that prompt just already be there so you don't have to retype it or copy and paste it. But we can just say, I need you to make me an image of an all-in-one ELO POS terminal. Hopefully I'm not offending anybody. I'm just picking something that's on my mind. Don't everybody get all mad because you don't use that one. ELO touch terminal with the words summer sale and include much POS related and theme as you can. So I'm purposely doing a crappy prompt, but I'm going to say, please create me a photorealistic. So if you're ever wanting to get away from the cartoony stuff and you're on Chat 4, you tell it to do photorealistic, and usually what it's going to do is a mashup of actual stock photos and what you have in mind. It takes typically about 45 seconds to do this, and I didn't actually specifically tell it to use the tool, which is create an image, but usually by saying photorealistic image, it'll automatically pick the tool. So these tools down here, they're not super necessary to say. Often, like the whole concept that Chat's moved to is that 4.0 does everything and it picks what to do based upon its prompt. But if you're not getting your answer, you're not getting the right thing, selecting what you actually want it to do. Like when you're doing code, by the way, even Gemini versus GPT, I've actually found GPT 4.0 or 4.1, if you really need to get deeper, is considerably better for me at diagnosing issues with code than Gemini. So I'm just not a huge fan of Gemini at this point. It hasn't done a lot of stuff that's good for me, but this is the paid version. And that's the other thing. Anyone who's company owners or anybody who's staff at a company, go and talk to your boss and say, we need to have at least the $20 a month. It'll change your world with the deep research. It'll make you more efficient. Half your problems go away just by having access to more usage of the big LLMs. So you really, really want to get out of the free world. Pick one. and get good at it and prove that it's worth 20 bucks a month. It's so worth 20 bucks a month. So there you go. There's a very simple image. I'm not familiar enough with Elo Touch to know if that looks like them, but I know that's their logo. It looks to me like it grabbed a stock image of it and stuck the summer sale onto it. And that's all I asked it for. I could have asked it for people. I could have asked it for all kinds of stuff. Now, here's where the fun happens. And this is what a lot of people don't realize. If you click that image, this happens. Anybody ever done that? Anyone ever clicked the image and seen it got big? And do you know what to do? Well, you can actually describe what you want to add or remove. I want to change the words summer sale to spring sale. And I need you to add a happy human to the picture. So you can now literally operate it like a voice controlled Photoshop. You can tell it to put more text. Notice that the text isn't all screwed up like it used to be. So ChatGPT has figured out how to merge. So, oh, and by the way, this does not work by API. So API doesn't have the ability to make a lot of this happen. It can make some of it happen, but yeah, if you're actually building an app that's linked to image one, which is the actual model you use, it doesn't have as much capabilities. You can't upload a photo and have it use it. Here you can. You can actually upload your own photo of an Elo Touch monitor and then tell it to do something with it, and it would use that in the photo. So, but you can push it around just like this. And then I'm going to show you another superpower once this one's generated that most people don't realize that is a massive time saver, especially with stuff like this. So notice it changed shapes. It's no longer a square image. That's because I didn't tell it to. If I would have told it square image, it would have stayed square image. But look at that. It looks to me like a happy human. What do you think? And notice the background's the same. Come on. Finish it up. So yeah, ChatGPT is now for images. Oh my gosh. You can do all your thumbnails. You can do everything that you need to do. It'll do it faster, better, smarter, easier. You know, Canva's great, but you can get something fast right away. And then if you want to, you can then tell Chat to turn it into a Canva template.
Hey, Dennis.
Yes.
Quick question for you. How do you make it work better with logos? I know that's a testy point. What company do you use to help it to put a logo in it?
Well, I mean, when you're doing a logo, you need to upload the logo and tell it to use it. And unfortunately, it's still not really great at it. So there's not a lot of tips except continuing to just mess with your prompt when it does it wrong. So unfortunately, logos are the bane of its existence. So you can overlay a logo. So you just need to tell it, you know, so you upload the logo and you say, I want this logo at the top right corner. I don't know if I have a handy logo to just try it with just for fun. Let me see.
While you're looking for a logo, how long of the prompt before you start deciding you got to jump into a new chat before it gets bogged down? You see it actually slowing down when you're using it? Yeah, like doing the same chat forever and ever. Eventually it gets so slow it's unusable. So for me, as soon as I start to notice that it's starting to think too long and it's starting to do too much, I just go and start a new chat. And sometimes I start that new chat by going back to the base prompt, or I pull a few of the things out from that big long chat to give it context. But now with chat, it's actually getting context across all your chats if you've told it to. Okay, so I'm adding, so this isn't a logo, but here's in general the kind of things that you can try to get it to do. None of this is perfect yet, but so I just said add this character to this image. We'll see what it does. So just like you could say, add this logo to this image. But one of the keys is with the logo stuff is make sure you have the image the way you want it and then ask it to add the image on top, or add the logo on top. Will be better than trying to tell it, use this logo and use this and do that. Then there's just too much context for it. You could say, make me an image, but leave a space at the top left for a logo to be put in, and then add the logo as a second prompt. We'll get better results than trying to put it in one prompt. Yeah, go ahead. Whoever asked that.
What if you want to like be very specific creatively about how you want to design this, and you want the woman to be behind the counter at a certain angle, and then the cat or whatever that is in a certain location, specifically certain coordinates or whatever?
Yeah, I mean, you can mess with that, but you got to remember it's still AI, so you can tell it, but it just means that the answer is everything you just said in a prompt. You need to say that. So you need to give it those exact specifics, and it's AI, so it's not going to give it perfect, but definitely you can get it closer by being very specific in your prompt. So here we go. Here's what it's decided to come up with. And it even gave AI Dennis a friend. And I got to tell you, sometimes the happy accidents like these, I mean, everyone's too damn serious about social media these days. We all put up perfectly boring stuff, and because it has to represent our brand, yet the guy who puts up this goofy picture goes out there and scores, 15 new sales because his picture went viral and he wasn't taking himself too seriously. So I would say, like, for me, the number one thing when it comes to enterprise or larger companies, you got to find a time and a place to get over yourself. You got to find a time and place to use social media the way it was designed to be used, which is not boring benefit or boring features of your software listed in every prompt with a boring picture of the screen of your software showing something that nobody reads. Like, there's nothing to do except, yawn and scroll, right? So be really, really careful that social media has to have some of the tricks of capturing some attention. So yeah, something I would post this. Sorry, I just.
Dennis, can I just jump in one more thing? Because it was
Yeah.
one that you helped me with. When it tells you that it goes against policy, I see
Yeah.
that a lot when generating images. How do you get around that?
Well, I mean, the biggest thing is if you want to use, so full disclosure, if it's telling you it's going around policy, there's a chance that you could be sued if you tell it the trick I'm going to give you to go around policy, because it's saying that for a reason. So if you're trying to use somebody's copyrighted logo or copyrighted character, and it's not just for fun and yourself, but it's commercial, it can be very problematic legally. But the way you do it is, instead of saying, make me a picture of Ronald McDonald, say, make me a picture like the character Ronald McDonald, like the character, like the logo, like the whatever. So it'll make it slightly different. If you tell it to make a picture of something that's copyrighted, it'll just flat out refuse you. If you tell it to make something like it, it most of the time will get through. Okay, do you see this picture? Anybody who's played with ChatGPT in the last, even 3 months ago, who says it can't do images, I hope you understand now that it's not chat, it's you, because it definitely can do all this kind of stuff. And then here's the other thing we could do. Ever see this little thing down here? This little dictate button? Anybody hate typing? I wonder what happens. Wait. Now I want you to add to the prompt, happy birthday. I guess I should say image, right? So you don't have to type. So when you're talking about wanting to do a big, complicated prompt to put this here and that there, click the little dictate button, record exactly what you want it to do, and then push go and see what happens, right? So in long prompts, I'll often use this just because half the time I'm typing and then backing up and changing my mind. You can back up and change your mind. Oh, no, actually do it this way. Oh, no, do it this way. And then feed it the prompt. It'll dissect it all and do it for you. Does everybody understand the power of what I just said? You don't even have to have a correct prompt, because chat, when you've actually given it a big lump of your raw thoughts, if at the very end, after it transcribes it, so you notice it took the audio and it transcribed it, at the very end, say, please clean up my words to make sense to you as a prompt. And it'll take that whole ball of text where you were thinking out loud to it and turn it into a prompt that'll work. Does that make sense?
Very nice.
I know it's spooky.
That's powerful.
Oh,
Yeah, so you can
pretty
talk
cool.
to it on the cardio machine. Get it and
You can.
do all your thoughts to it, and then have it.
And you can use the mobile app too. So you're right. You can be on the cardio machine listening to your music, and then just put your little chat up and start talking to it and have it go off. You can structure deep research stuff. So yeah, often talking to it is faster, as long as you add the last line that says, take all of my thoughts and formulate them into a proper prompt and take action. Something to tell it to analyze your mess and pick out what you actually said, because then it's going to actually go and it's going to see you said this first and this second, so it'll ignore the first, right? So as long as you tell it to go fix up your mess and then do the prompt, or tell you to approve the prompt, right? Tell me what prompt I should run, and then it'll give you the prompt, and then you can say, no, fix this, fix that, or you copy and paste it, fix it yourself. So yes, talking to it for longer prompts can allow you to do, like, I'm way better at talking things through out loud than I am at typing stuff. I tend to get too specific when I'm typing stuff. But if I talk to somebody and record the conversation and feed it to chat, it'll pull out exactly what I had in mind. So always remember, you can take your words and give it to chat. You can take a transcript and give it to chat, and it'll figure stuff out.
Hey, Jeff,
Okay.
what's happening on your screen right now, I've noticed on chat as well. It gets stuck.
Yeah.
And
So all you do is refresh.
that. So just a refresh and boom, and it
Just
goes.
refresh.
That's right.
Yeah. And then usually it'll come back.
Thanks.
Yeah, and chat does. Anytime chat gets stuck, don't wait for, oh, and by the way, if chat's ever told you, oh yeah, I'll have that ready in about 15 minutes, guys, that's total crap. There is no such thing as it going and thinking about stuff for 15 minutes other than deep research, where it's literally giving you a timeline and a log. So if you ever have run into saying it'll be ready about 15 minutes, just go right back and say, gosh, man, it's been 2 hours. Are you done yet? And it'll spit out the answer for you. So don't believe it. It lies. It lies. I have no idea why, but if it's not instant, it's not working. So don't believe that. Anybody run into that and thought you actually had to wait? You can say yes.
I have run into it. I'm wondering, do you think it's trained to do that so it saves some horsepower on the server side?
I totally believe that it was a misguided attempt to save horsepower on their side. And now people literally stop using it because of it. They just go to Gemini that does it instantly. So I think it was an idea that failed. I haven't had it happen to me very often lately, so maybe they fixed it. But yeah, if it ever happens, or any LLM ever tells you that, just tell it, oh my God, I've been waiting 2 hours already. When are you going to be done? And they'll spit it right out.
I get that sometimes, Dennis, when creating images, after I've done so many, it says you've got to wait now 20 minutes before I can generate more images. But I'll give you more. I can still ask me questions, but I won't do images.
Yep, of course. Okay, so I think we've probably done enough here. Oh, look at that. It's now happy birthday. So this is the power of ChatGPT image generation. And you can also go one step further up here where you have this little select area. So I can actually click that little button and then I can select a part of the picture. So here, and I could say, change it to a dog, or I can select this and say, change it to that.
That's
or
cool.
I could say, I need you to put happy birthday here and something else there. So this is where now you can get right into, or I can say, I don't like this guy, erase him. And I won't do it, just takes too long. But just know that you have this little power as well for the real micro changes. And it's really, really powerful. So it's literally Photoshop in a box now. And you can even tell it what font style you want. You can tell it what lighting you want. You can give it as much detail as you want. So if you're a super professional Photoshop user who knows all the settings you do to get your pictures to look the same way all the time, give ChatGPT all of that in your prompt and they'll come out very, very consistent. So that's one of the keys to consistency. So again, once you've made your prompt that has all that stuff in it, save it to your special document, and all of your pictures will have the right lighting, the right camera angle, the right mood, the right theme, the right characters, and then you're just putting in the last little bits in your prompt. Any questions on image generation? Hearing none, we're gonna go to video creation. Because this all does take a long time and there's limits on everything, I took the opportunity to show you a tour of what's possible. So when Sora, which is Chat's video generator, first came out, I started playing with things like this, where I actually had it generate an image, and then I uploaded that image and said, make this into a cute video. And it animated it into cute videos with motion. And it was very cartoony on purpose. I was testing the cartoony theme. So I spent a little bit of time playing with this and posting a bunch of stuff on LinkedIn. And this was my very introduction to Sora. So, and again, simplifying Excel with AI. The prompt is make me a YAI cartoon for YAI because Excel formulas should calculate, not complicate. I literally just told it what I wanted it to do. And then it basically gave me some ideas. Now I started to involve a real human and a cartoon character. And yeah, so I'm showing the underbelly, guys. You guys see my stuff that's ready for public usage. A whole bunch of crap like this that goes into getting there. And what's the difference between all of this? The prompt, the prompt, the prompt, the prompt, the prompt. And then all of a sudden I had a friend of mine say, we've got this thing called kitty mints. We won't even get into what they do, but they're really cool. And he wanted to have an image. And I literally just came a high resolution. So I gave it a logo. I uploaded a logo and said, I want a high resolution photo, realistic image, label with turquoise label featured. And then I basically had it spit out some images. And he fell off his chair. He had a Photoshop person trying to do this, had given him 10 different versions and he hated all of them. He liked this one right away. And he says, well, can we put her in a gold dress? Okay. And then it just carried on from there, and we dialed in more and more. So the first one, I didn't give it a logo. I just described what I wanted. The second one, I actually went and gave it his logo. And you see what changed? Face, face. And this logo was close enough that he could use it. And of course, his graphics designer is, well, it's not our exact logo. You can't use it. And I'm like, dude, it's going to be like a little tiny image on a cell phone. Like, get over it. And he was like, you're right. So then I started getting the idea. We do a lot of work with restaurants. So I've always been a believer that people love to see sort of the back end kitchen stuff that they don't normally get to see. You know, things like great volumes of cheese being grated. So this was when I just told it, I want you to show a big brick of cheese being grated. So anybody notice what's wrong with this image? If you don't, you're not looking at it. So yeah, there's no cheese grater and it's kind of bad. Welcome to generation of video, and it's getting better. You'll see it evolve a bit, but it's still not awesome. This one, I told it to make a burger falling through the air. So it did, except that it's more jumping off the plate. But hey, we can play it in reverse. And then I played with things like pizza. And so in my opinion, Sora's not really ready for prime time. It can do real simple things okay, and it is getting better. I mean, I was trying to get it to do Chicago deep dish, and it started saying this is Chicago deep dish, which of course isn't. And then it said, well, okay, well, we're getting a higher crust, but it still doesn't look like a Chicago. This one's as close to real Chicago deep dish as you get. But you can see that it took multiple prompts, right? And getting mad at it, right? So you're allowed to remix. So you get this, and then you can remix that prompt. So you can just say, no, I need you to do it with a Chicago deep dish. Must be true Chicago deep dish pizza. And then it still didn't quite do it. This is a margarita pizza. Deep dish is like a pie with straight walled crust, almost 2.5 inches thick. So do you see what's happening here, guys? You see all the stuff I've shared with you today and how I didn't use any of it. I got around to it in the end, and I finally started describing what Chicago deep dish is instead of expecting it knows. So if I would have just done a better prompt in the beginning, I would have better output, right? And then I found that it did really good with wok style because that was just easy. Guacamole, kind of good, but somehow sticky, gooey, stick in mush. Just, yeah, I wouldn't use that one. And then we get the magic knife that doesn't cut, which again, this is the kind of thing that I would post because it's entertaining. People go, oh, what the hell just happened to me, right? But it would be with a funny description in place. This one's even better. I mean, I didn't know that you could miss a piece of sushi so many times, and I'm not sure why he's holding the blade and cutting with the handle, but guess I probably wasn't specific enough. And then I started trying to get my AI Dennis cat character happening, and it sort of worked in Sora, but it was kind of creepy. And then it didn't get a whole lot better. There we go. So I never did use Sora to actually create any of the videos, if any of them on LinkedIn. It just never quite could do what I wanted. I mean, that one's kind of cute, but so every one of these takes a good 2 minutes to generate. So you can imagine how long I spent trying to dial in prompts. That's as close as it got to what I was looking for. That's the dive. I mean, it's the reflection in the water. So that's as close as I got. So it is getting better. So that's the other problem with all of these tools, guys. So I mean, here it's not even diving, it's doing gymnastics. I mean, they're entertaining, right? But they're not usable. So even here, we get a nice start to them. It's the character I wanted. It doesn't quite say AI Dennis like it's supposed to. It does here. You know, here you can see the AI Dennis on the trunks. You know, here it's standing, here it's not. And then it just makes a mess of the dog. Okay, questions on this or why I'm sharing all of this goofy stuff with you?
Well, so Dennis, you're just refining the prompt as you each time, and you run through. You don't like it, and you refine it more, and then refine it more, and refine it more.
If I go to here, I might be able to see the whole prompt. Oh, there we go. So this is where I finally got to, and I had learned this from VO, and then I started trying to apply it to here, and it made things a lot better. So AI Dennis, a photorealistic, muscular Russian blue cat with white markings on his face, chest, and paws, wearing smart glasses and a royal pair of blue board shorts with AI Dennis clearly embroidered vertically on his left leg, is doing a dive from a 3-meter high diving board in a pool at the Olympics. But it started with much, much more basic prompts. Well, by the time I did this one, I'd already learned a lot. So we have to go back to something like this. Yeah, so again, this one was an attempt at a really, really detailed prompt based upon what I knew, and it still didn't do the right thing. So any questions on this? So it is so down to the prompt, and you just need to keep iterating. And of course, ChatGPT is your friend. Ask it how to write the prompt, and then tell it what it did wrong and ask it to write the prompt again. Tell it what it did wrong and ask it to write the prompt again. And then you'll start to pick up the patterns, because it's sort of telling you what to do in the language of the actual LLM. Any questions on that? Okay, so when you go to Gemini, it gets a little different. Here was one of my first attempts at a couple of videos, and they came up interesting. But so you can see that the quality between Veo and Sora is just off the charts different at this stage. So if we keep going, we get into all of the prompting. So let's just talk a little bit about the prompting. So when you're going to do videos, you need to give it a really detailed prompt that sort of, and again, if you're in Veo, then certainly use Gemini to help you with the prompt. But you can see the scene opens with a distinctive photorealistic muscular cat, AI dentist. So the thing about videos, if you're trying to make two videos that stitch together, you have to make sure that wherever you ended the scene is where you begin the scene. So all of this gets reproduced in every prompt, because that's the character. And then there's the scene and the setting and what's going on and what it's going to say. And then there's trying to get it to do a 916 vertical, which is really terrible at. And then the scene should end with AI dentist clearly visible facing a whiteboard just as he finishes his line, ready to turn away in the next shot. And then your next shot has to say the scene starts with dentist still clearly visible facing a whiteboard. He's just finished talking and ready to say the next thing. So you need to always tie your prompts together. So all of the stuff that gets repeated, because Veo does not have any context. It's not like chat where it's remembering what you've done. So Veo needs that context. So I'm actually just writing an entire video in Veo that teaches how to use Veo. So I'll make sure I share that all with you. And here's a scene from it. This is the introductory scene where it says, welcome to how to unlock the secrets of Veo. The key to good prompting is clarity and precision. And again, we look at the prompt, right? And you can just see the prompts evolve and evolve and evolve and evolve. So, and the problem with Veo is on your $20 a month or $30 a month or whatever it is, you only get 3 a day. So it takes a while to learn, because unless you want to go and pay their $299 a month to get more credits, you get 3 a day. Any questions on video? I don't want to spend too much time here. It's not something a lot of people do with. Is that beyond what you expected video creation could do, about what you expected, or of no use at all based upon what you've seen? I'd love to hear.
Hey, Dennis, I haven't
Yep.
messed with it myself yet, but it is getting impressive. Some of the paid, versions out there, Runway, I think, is doing some pretty amazing things. I think it's only a matter of time till chat catches up. But
Well, it is. And don't forget, almost all the paid tools out there are just building on top of VO3 or building on top of chat. So they have just perfected the prompts to make it easier for humans. So much like Shosanna said, how do I get an image to go out, or how do I get people to be able to ask a bad question and still get a good answer? It's all in the prompts. And that's why there's a gazillion million tools out there that you can buy. But in the end, they're still just using the LLM in the background, unless they're an actual LLM themselves, which most of them aren't. So that's the crazy part about it.
have you seen all the marketing going on with the Bigfoot?
Oh yeah, that's exactly what, Craig brought that to me, and that's exactly what brought me to start playing with the AI dentist videos. And they say AI is, and they're getting really, really good traction on YouTube. So again, here we are trying to be a professional company that does AI for the enterprise. And the thing that got me 900 views is a funny cat video that mimics the gorilla ones. So yes. So I'm going to be, I'm working on a GPT that I can share with everyone that would allow you to easily create the scripts that'll work to do them yourselves. So again, our whole concept is what we want to teach you guys is, how to do all of this stuff, and then how to take it to the next step where you actually turn it into things like GPTs, or turn it into a Bolt app that you can monetize. So you use it for yourself, and then you turn around and you sell it to others. That's the whole mantra we have, is AI should be making you money, not just saving you money. Sorry, any other questions on the video before we move on, guys? I'm getting short on time. Still got lots to say. Hearing nothing, we will carry on. Okay, so now we're going to get into GPTs. What are they and how to make one? Everybody, please tell me if you've ever played with trying to create your own GPT in ChatGPT. Okay, so a GTP is kind of like an automatic prompt that is built in, and all it does is ask you the question. So it's almost like a chat bot, but it can be built with multiple steps. They can be incredibly complex, and then they just spit out very consistent input. So it's something you can make that's cool that you can share with your customers. I don't recommend sharing GPTs with customers because you can reverse engineer them. That would turn it into a bolt app, but you can. Or you can build it for yourself to, again, give all kinds of great information to your customers so that you're stickier than the guys who don't do anything but give them free equipment. So they're like mini automations. So a GPT is like a mini automation. It's a way to get a multi-step prompt to generate you a much more advanced output without you needing to feed it layered prompts all the time or multi-step prompts all the time. You just give it your input data and it does the multi-step process for you. It'll follow rules and stick to the script and perform the same thing over and over and over. But when you do want to make a change, you have to edit the GPT itself and the rules to do it in order to get one. So if you look in your ChatGPT, you will see something called GPTs. Now, here's where everyone's brain's going to explode, because there's an entire marketplace of existing GPTs that you can use. Some are free, some cost money. But almost anything you want to do and you don't want to figure out how to do the prompts to do, you can find someone who's already done it. Anybody know about this little gem of a thing in their simple little ChatGPT? I think even the free version gives you access to this.
Yeah, I've looked at it, and I've only tried maybe one or two, but I'll be honest, I wasn't that impressed. I'm wondering how you filter out the quality.
You can't. That's the problem.
Yeah.
It's a free marketplace and everyone can put the crap in. The real way to filter out the quality is you go find one that's done poorly and then just go make your own, because they're super easy to make. They're super easy to make. So how do we make one? We hit create. It says, hey, what do you want to make? Well, guess what, guys? To save time, I actually did some advanced work to give it the ability to make one for us. So we're going to make a POS Opportunity Analyzer. Sounds cool, right? So it's going to analyze any business website to uncover opportunities for POS upgrades, missing tools, and revenue growth. Sound like something doable for the POS people on there? Okay, so first of all, we're going to give it the description. So if we go here, it's going to say, what would you like me to make? I want you to make this. Now we can probably just type that. And it's updating its rules and saying, great, let's choose a name. And it even, do you want to call it this? Let's use that. That is fine. Oh, it's even going to make us a profile picture. Look at that. Okay. Do you like it? Or do you want to do another one? That's good enough for now, right? Fine. Now, let's do some work. What should be emphasized or avoided? Well, we're just going to go and feed it. You are a sales intelligence assistant for POS companies. When given a business website URL, your job is to use browsing to analyze all this stuff. And then you're supposed to do this and do this and do this. And then we're going to do this. Now we're going to do this. Now, I've never tried putting this all in at once to see what it does with it. So we're just going to try. So usually it'll walk you through. So it's like, what do you want to do next, right? Well, we're just going to say, here are the steps I wish you to use. So if you're actually doing one, it'll actually sort of prompt you for the next thing and make you think about it, prompt you for the next thing, make you think about it. We don't have time for that. So I'm just going to tell it to do this. And if it doesn't work, I'm just going to show you the end result, because it does work this easy. So it's now saying, okay, great. And it's going, oh, look, okay, that's done. You want to try it? How hard was that? All I did was give it some rules. And if you don't know the rules, you can go to ChatGPT and say, here's what I'm trying to do. What kind of steps do I need to do it? And it'll give you the steps, and you can shove it over into one of these things and see if it works. So maybe we should try it. So I'm going to first create it, right? You can test it in here, but we're going to create it. And then it says, who can use it? Or we're going to say anyone with the link. And we're going to say save. And now created it. We'll copy the link. We're going to view it. We're going to put it in the, here we go. I've put it there. And so now we can just say, okay, and it's going to say, great, what company do you want? So I've said analyze Ace Hardware just so it can be quick. So it's now gone to Ace Hardware's site, analyzed it based upon the rules, and it has said it's a hardware retail cooperative with 5,700 stores internationally, and it gives you where the reference is from. Current POS platforms, it appears to use Paladin POS integrated with Ace Online Services. Epicore's Eagle Propello, Eagle Vision, Epicore Eagle is a part of Ace's exclusive stuff. You in the POS world maybe understand this. I don't. Mature EDI framework. Okay, that's cool. What's working well? Omnichannel capability, inventory sync, rewards and gift cards, gaps and opportunities, first e-commerce start point. So I've given it in that bunch of mess. So let's just go and look what I actually gave it. So I gave it that the instructions are the type of business, right? And then I gave it output, clear bullet point report, rate their current tech stack, recommend 2 to 3 upsell opportunities. I gave it, give it a welcome message. So I gave it all of these things, and then show when someone opens the GPT, 3 different things that you can just use so you don't have to think. So that's why it picked Ace Hardware, because I gave it one of these to say, look, if you just want to try it, you can try it. And then I told it to go ahead and publish it. And then you test it. So then you can put in, so I don't think it gave us the ability to put in what company that we use, but we could have. Where'd it go? Okay, and then it's gone through and it's analyzed all that. So you literally have it to where you just give it the website of who you want to analyze, and then it also can make you could also add to it to give it your information so it can actually analyze directly to you. So right now it's just telling you about them without knowing about you, because that's how simple it is. But even at that, imagine if all you did was put in the URL of who you're trying to get as a customer, and it gave you this report. This was a 15-minute project for me to create for you guys to play with. Have I skipped over this too much and lost everyone? Do I need to go back a bit slower, or is this understanding the general power of a GPT?
Oh, it's great. Are
Is that
you?
fantastic? Dennis,
Yeah.
That'll put that GPT into my
Yeah.
chat.
Everyone can click it right now and then just go and run it. And instead of running it by pushing one of those buttons, just tell it, I want you to analyze this, and give it a website, and it'll do it. And you can, and then now you have that link, you can do that as much as you want, whenever you want. Now, if I wanted to change that GPT because it didn't quite do what I wanted, I can go in and say, edit GPT. And it's now brought me back to my edit screen, and I can say, I want you to add a step where it asks me for my company information. It can identify gaps. And by simply asking it to do this, it goes and figures out all the back-end logic, and it'll add that step and change things around. And then once this is done, you literally could have your sales department with a GPT that everyone can share, and all they do is go in and analyze every customer they're about to go talk to, and they don't have to go and do all of this work, if they even bother to do this work, to figure out what the other guy's using and all that kind of stuff. So it just amplifies your entire sales team's effort, because now they go in fully armed, right? So if we say update, this is one of the most powerful underutilized tools, because people think they're hard. Just go in and tell it what you want it to do. I want you to do this, and then it'll do it, and you go, oh no, but I want you to add this. Oh, and then it'll add that. So you can literally build it as you have thoughts. You know, you can screw it up totally on the first, and then if it really gets out of whack, you just go and copy and paste this whole part over here, and you start a new one by going to chat first and saying, here's what I tried to do with the GPT and it went wrong. Here's what went wrong. Fix it and give me a prompt to make a proper GPT. I know, it's crazy. When it goes wrong, you just go ask chat to fix it. Chat screws it up, and then you go ask chat to fix it, and it cleans up all your mess, and the next version works better. So now that should also work for all of you guys if you refreshed it. So if I said, I'm still going to do one of these ones. So I want to analyze that. We just see what happens before I dive in. There you go. Was what I did hard, guys? I just told it that I want it to take my information first. So now first step is, what kind of POS tools do you offer? Who's your ideal customer? Blah, 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 blah. Tell me this, and then we can get going. Cool, right? So my time's running out. I always try to do too much. I made this GPT, which is our quiet marketing analyzer, where it just asks me, so it's going to actually go and find out the voice of the customer. So basically it says, welcome to Signal Site. What website URL do you want to do? So dbctechnology.com. Okay, got your website. Now paste in sales and marketing copy. We sell $25 per week Facebook marketing for restaurants. We do enterprise level chatbots, enterprise level voice agents, AI automations, and lots of miniature applications that can be sold. Sorry, I'm lazy. Great. Short business overview. Okay. I think it's the overview is good enough. Great. So type your quick business overview now. DBC Technologies specializes in AI for the enterprise, including education, app building, voice agents, and chatbots, as well as bespoke daily Facebook and Instagram marketing for multiple verticals. It's going to tell me how bad we are. I don't want you guys to see this. And finally, what's our offer? Okay, today we want to talk and learn only about our $25 per week Facebook and Instagram daily marketing engine that can be set up in 60 seconds and have posts in the user's hand in 24 hours done for you, or they can do it for themselves in 7 minutes. Oh, now it's going to go through step 1. So it's going to clarify the B2B offer for pain signal research, goes off to Reddit to find the actual voice of the customers. The prompting behind this GPT is about 19 pages long. So it's going through a lot of stuff and a lot of steps in the background. And it's just starting to spit me stuff out. So it's saying, okay, time and consistency. I never have time to post consistently. Social media always gets pushed to the bottom of the list. This is what restaurant owners are saying about it. I post once in a while, but then forget for weeks. Right? I have no idea how to set up Facebook ads. Too many tools. None of them are simple. Schedule posting's confusing. I don't want to learn another dashboard. This is the tone of the customers that we're trying to sell to, and we're trying to sell them, daily Facebook posting. No, we need to relieve the pain. We're going to take away the pain, right? So now I'll search Reddit for the real buyer pain that matches our offer. Again, same stuff, right? Overwhelm, tech friction, content creation burnout, ROI doubts and anxiety, massive, right? They just don't think it does anything for them. They don't realize that daily posting can increase their Facebook or increase their Google rankings dramatically, creating more traffic into their restaurant just because they're considered relevant by Google because they have daily social media content existing. Okay, cost and resource sensitivity, relevance for your offer, $25 per week. Well, time and consistency, automated posting ensures daily content. Suggested next step, map the pain theme to your features. Okay, post daily without lifting a feature, daily without lifting a finger. No more posting isn't translating into sales guilt. Update the offer copy, tired of forgetting to post. Spend 10 hours a week creating content, nothing to show for it. Struggling, it's just giving you literally the things that should be the top of your emails, talking in the customer's voice. Not a feature, not we do daily Facebook posting, not we do it for $25 a week. Their pain points. Crazy, right? So what's the next step, right? Let me know if you'd like to tweak the pain before I move on. Okay, move on. Great. Pain to offer fit map. Time and consistency burnout. Forgot to post, can't keep up. Daily post delivered automatically. 60-second setup or 7 minutes, do it yourself. Tech overwhelm or friction. Ultra simple onboarding done for you. Oh my gosh, look at that, guys. We're doing good. We're doing good. We got 3. Oh, results anxiety. Oh gosh, we didn't quite do so good on that. We need to give them a few case studies. Cost sensitivity. Oh, we're good on that too. So it's literally showing how good what we're selling and the way we talk about it is for the people that are actually looking for it. This is the GPT that guy ran to have a $600 million a year company find a 2 million plus hole in their marketing. Crazy, right? So what did I do with this? I turned it into an app and now we sell it. We let people use it 3 times and then we charge them $25 a time. And it saves them hundreds, if not thousands of dollars of market research doing it themselves. Could they do it themselves? Yeah, go do deep research, do it yourself. It's not, I mean, again, you could hire someone to build this for you and then you have it. Does that make sense? So this is the power of a GPT. Like this is a higher octane GPT than the first one. Any questions? Have I confused everybody at this point? Jumping around too much, maybe? All good? Next thing.
How long did it take you to generate that quiet analyzer?
Putting it into the GPT took 10 minutes. Writing the prompts and all of that was probably 6 or 7 hours of my prompting time. So yeah, I would say less than a day for the entire thing, and that's including the Bolt app, and that turned into, literally a Bolt app that you can go play with, and then it's connected to Stripe. It'll take your money, issue credits. I never need to think about it.
Wow.
Okay, so now we're going to talk about the last thing, and this is structured tool and plugin chains. So this is where, so we did the original crappy prompt, and then we did the prompt that said ask me questions so I can do it right, and we got to a different level of output, right? Now we're going one step further, which is almost like the precursor step to making a GPT. So this is a single prompt that actually runs them through a similar concept of do this and then do this and do that. Give me this information, give me that information, give me the other information. So what they do is it combines resource library, so it can take plugins and tools. So in this case, this is using the search tool that's built into GPT and the export to Word document tool that's built into GPT. It automates workflows. It's going to gather market data, calculate pricing changes, and draft client communication all in one chain. So it's literally going through an iteration of things. They're powerful because they allow end-to-end workflows in POS payments deployment, anything that you have that you're having to always go and do a bunch of fairly consistent steps for different customers. This can be automated to where you plug it in, it asks you 4 questions, and it generates you a report. So it's kind of like the quiet marketing analyzer, nowhere near as in depth, but this one is the competitive pricing agent for POS hardware bundles. Okay, so step 1, we're going to ask it to put in the competitors you want to look for. And you can add to this list because this is just a prompt, right? So you could take away some because you don't care. You could add ones that are more your competitors, right? And then it's going to ask, would you like to add any competitors or remove them from the list? So it's going to do all this. It's just going to prompt you. So this is the prompt that then will prompt you when you put it in there, okay? Wait for the user to confirm or edit. Once confirmed, use the browser tools to visit the original pricing or product pages for each selected competitors. For each, extract. So now it's being told to go to the website and find, let's go search and find them, and then go to their websites and then get the brand, the bundle name, upfront price, monthly recurring fees, hardware included, notable software features, right? Return as a CSV table, tab separated for easy pasting into a Google Sheet. So you can do analysis on it. Then ask the user, confirm they've done step 1 before you move on to step 2. And step 2 is upload an analysis. Instruct the user to paste the CSV data into the Google Sheet, or in this case, you just do it here, right? Before comparison pricing, ask the user to describe their POS bundle, including what's included, any recurring fees. So now it's saying, what do you do? So it has something to compare by. Once they've provided the bundle, analyze the differences for each competitor and provide a line-by-line comparison, a column or table name, 2 to 3 recommended adjustments to improve price positioning or feature set for your company. And then it's going to make an internal email draft, and then it's going to export it as a Word document. Okay? Crazy, right? This is one prompt, guys. So I'm going to copy the prompt. Okay? There's the rules on how to use it, because you guys all get this document, by the way, when you're done. So you'll have all this source stuff to play with. And I'm going to go, and I'm going to do a new chat, and I'm going to say, are you ready? This is hard, guys. I mean, if you're not paying attention and taking notes, you're going to miss it. Okay? This is so hard. Oh, I'm now your competitive pricing agent for POS bundles. Excellent. So, competitor selection. To begin, I'm going to go and research all these guys. Anything else you want done? And then I'm going to ask you for some information. I'll return to the CSV table. Please confirm the competitor list. We're good with that one. All good. And these are the kind of prompts that are crazy. So these are the kind of things that if you want to, you can come to us and say, hey, here's what we're trying to do, and pay me to write you the prompt, give you back the prompt, and everyone just cut and paste it, or I'll turn it into the GPT for you. So if any of this gets hard, you definitely can hire us to help you create these simple tools. You know, you're a couple $100 and you have a tool that you can go and do this all day long, every day, and fix a whole bunch of the little problems. So it gave us all of this information. We really just want the end result. So now it's probably going to ask about me. Please do the following. Yep, what's included, hardware, software. Okay, and it's asking me now for our bundle details, which I made one because I didn't want to spend time thinking and typing. So this is our bundle. It's $1,850 upfront, $25 a month, includes 15-inch touch terminal, receipt printer, cash drawer, 2-year hardware warranty, built-in CRM, loyalty and gift cards, 24/7 support, and no monthly fees for the first 12 months. That's our offering. So we tell it that's our offering, and it says, great, here we go. That's a recap of yours, and here comes the analysis. So Toast, 0 upfront, 0 plus 3.09 per transaction, comparable on the 1 to 2 terminals, no CRM or loyalty as you have, and it's underpriced short term. Toast, point of sale kit. Okay, now this is costing more money, and hardware value match, limited base gear, loyalty gift cards optional, and it's competitive. Square, stand kit. So it's just found all their products and analyzed them, and now gives you the recommendations on how you compete with all of them. Emphasize total first-year cost advantage. First-year cost $1,850, no monthly fee. Most competitors charge $89 a month or $1,069 a year plus hardware. That makes you 46% cheaper. Highlight restaurant-focused simplicity. Competitors bundle unnecessary e-commerce or retail-specific tools. You offer exactly what restaurants need. Nothing they don't. Consider $0 today option to match those Square psychology. Offer a 0% upfront, $59.99 as an anchor, even if you prefer upfront. This lowers the perception to barrier. Want an email series? Email? Yes. So this is the email that goes internally to your company to help educate people on what you learned. Word document. But I mean, as you guys can see, I give you that prompt. You can simply edit that prompt to make it do whatever you want. It's not rocket science. You just need someone to give you a bit of a roadmap. So here's a whole bunch of roadmaps. And admittedly, when it comes to making Word documents, it's not always perfect. So you could cut and paste the stuff and make your own. But in this case, we'll just see what it actually came up with. And here we go. Competitive pricing analysis and summary actions. Comments. Was that wow? Was that holy cow? Was that nah? Seen it before. Did we learn anything today?
That's great. I look forward to trying a lot of these things out, Dennis. I can't wait to get my hands on that document.
Easy peasy. I'll send it all to you. Oh, any questions that anyone has on their mind or challenges they're suffering with that I can answer just as extra added value?
Hey, Dennis, Jay here.
Hey, Jay.
Hey, I got a quick one for you that I've had consistent struggling going on with. I'm trying to use ChatGPT doing some product mock-ups.
Yeah.
And I'm having a consistent problem with it doing logos that I'm utilizing. Do you have a prompt or a recommendation?
Yeah, so logos are its biggest weak point. And the easiest way to make logos as good as you're going to get is generate. So you're talking logos on the items that you're showing, right? You're not talking a logo on the screen, but a logo on the lighter or whatever.
Exactly. I'm taking existing logos and it's having its way with my logos.
Yeah, and that's fairly common. So what you need to do is in the prompt, tell it to stay very specific, right? You must use this exact logo. But sometimes the other way to do it even better is you saw how you can do the 2 steps and you can refine your prompt, right? So do your first prompt to get the setting and the item and the thing done, and then go back and say, now I want you to add this logo on the middle of the lighter. So do it as the second step, because what happens is when you're trying to tell it to do it all in one prompt, it's trying to process all of that stuff together. Where if instead you make it create the scene of the lighter sitting on the, top of the old fashioned in a crystal glass, then you say, now go overlay the logo, you'll probably have a lot more success, because then it's, here's a logo, I want you to overlay this logo exactly on the blah in the position of blah, and you'll probably get a lot closer. When you try to do it all at once, it tends to just distort your stuff all over.
Excellent idea. All right.
And you can even use that little brush tool I showed you to say, I want you to put the logo here. So when you click the image that it generated, it goes into edit mode and it has that little tool. Maybe I still have it here. Yeah. So it has this little button here. So you click that and then you could actually say, put this logo here.
And then just what I'm having it do is take the logo and make a change to it, like an inadvertent letter change or a.
Yeah, again, if you do it as a second step, it'll probably stop that. But there's no 100% solution for that at this point. It's everybody's biggest complaint.
Yeah.
But yeah, layering the logo on top of the image after it's done has shown to get it closer.
That 2-prompt process, I'll try it. That'll probably help a little bit for sure. I appreciate that. All right, thanks.
You're welcome. Anybody else?
Oh, hey. So I just want to say this is an amazing class. Like, opened my eyes to so many things. Thank you. So I was working with Bolta. I knew a little bit, and I created like a pretty cool dashboard I just showed today. It was pretty cool. I was just curious, like, how to get it from like prototype to like actual final stage, because I want to input a bunch of like data from different places like Snowflake and then from internal databases, and like make
Yeah,
sure
so
it's doing that
now,
right.
now it just comes down to feeding the database with data, right? And of
Okay.
course, the expensive way to feed it is to just cut and paste it into Bolt and say, add this data to the database. Then it's costing you credits. The faster way to do it, because you have SQL skills, is just go write the SQL query to insert through the Supabase SQL editor, and just insert that all by a SQL query. So you're going directly to the table. Then it's not asking you no credits. And then, you know, if you're missing a place for the data to go, then obviously you have to get Bolt to add whatever you're missing. And then once you have it all fleshed out, just go load up the data directly into the database. There's no advantage of having Bolt do it for you. It just turns up credits. And then once it's in the database, of course, your app's going to behave differently, because now it's going to have all that data there to play with.
Oh.
So use SQL to insert into. So for example, if you just go into, first of all, here, table editor, what you do is you click on your table, and then you go down here and you go definition. So you cut this and you paste this into Anthropic and say, here's my table definition. Okay, so now it knows your table structure, basically. This is just the easiest way to get there that I've figured out. And then you go to your SQL editor, and you can then actually go into Anthropic and say, here's all my data, and give it a CSV. Write me a query to make it fit into the table I gave you the database structure of. And then it'll actually write you the query to do it. And then you just come into this SQL editor, right? And say, paste it here, hit go, and boom, it'll populate your database.
Wow.
With no credits.
Okay.
Make sense?
Yeah, I'm gonna have to try it, but I get the idea. Thanks.
Yep. Yeah, the thing, the real key is, like, I'm not a programmer, so I have to find hacks for everything. So the hack is table editor will take a look at any of your tables, and you click definition, it'll tell you the definition, and this is all it needs. This is all any LLM needs to know how to create you the perfect SQL query, and tell it that it's a Supabase SQL query, because it uses PostgreSQL. So it's not the same as, you know, Microsoft SQL. So you need to tell it that you're using Supabase, so it knows what SQL to write for you. And then it'll just do it for you. And then you cut and paste into the SQL editor, and away you go. Boom, done.
Okay, cool. That's awesome. So that's for internal data, right?
Yeah, that's the way, because obviously the difference between a prototype and real is the data in the database, right? And then you publish it, right? And then you can even use Netlify. So once you publish it, it's now giving you a Netlify URL. You can actually go into Netlify and buy a URL and attach it to it, and now it's your URL. Or you can do a subdomain on your URL, and you just need to use your Netlify to connect all that up, and then it'll behave in your own URL as well.
Okay, cool. Because it said, like, I was taking data from Snowflake Marketplace, and it apparently just did it. Bolt just did it. I don't know, but I want to check it. Like,
Well, it can if you're scraping, right? If you've told it go get data from there, it'll do that for you.
No. It used an app.
Yep. Yeah, it'll go out and use Cheerio.
Like a Snowflake Marketplace app to get certain information we wanted. It got it from the app.
Yeah, so you just need to be telling it that it needs to be database persistent. So you have to start by attaching your project to a database that costs $10 a month. So if you're only using Bolt and you haven't attached it to a database, then everything's in your local context. So you have to, the first thing you have to do is hang on. Sorry, this is advanced. Anybody who can't be here is welcome to go. This is cool stuff, but you know, it might not be applicable to everyone. Make me a recipe generator. Japanese. Izakaya. I probably didn't need to do it this way, but anyways, up here, your integrations. This is where you connect your Supabase.
Oh, okay.
So just let it do what it does here, and then we'll show you. So anybody who doesn't know Bolt, this is Bolt. This is how easy it is to generate an app. You'll notice all I told it was make me a recipe generator for a Japanese izakaya style food. And it's going off and doing what it thinks the best app could be for that. And it will literally build it to an app that you can use, you can share, is yours, and it can collect data and store that data in a database. And then you can just keep building your app by telling it more features and things that you want to do, just in regular plain English with zero development skills. Yeah, the superpower of Bolt is that it works with Supabase, which is one of the most scalable AI-friendly database out there. So it's in the cloud, of course, but it's no different than using Amazon. It's secure in the cloud, but you'd have to be careful that your company's okay with that. Or I think Supabase might even be open source, so you could have your techies make an installation of it directly for you. But for those that don't see, this is all the files that it's writing right now. I haven't told it anything. Now, if you go into here, so if you want to monetize it, you click Stripe, and in literally a minute, your Stripe account will be connected. Supabase, now it's saying select your database or create a new one. So you create a new database, and then usually just by creating it, it's going to come back and tell you a bunch of things to do to utilize it. And if not, then you say, I need this whole app to be database persistent, and it'll just add all that. It'll create the database structure for you, and everything's good. So it's right there with create a new project. So it'll take your local context stuff to fully database persistent. And then once you have that database structure, then the stuff I showed you in Supabase is what you do to load it up with data. Does that help?
Yeah. No, that's really helpful. I'm gonna have to try it now.
Yeah, fun stuff. You know, every time you talk to me, you have 3 days worth of work to do to figure it all out. Some done.
No, I'm learning so much. Thank you.
All right.
Thanks so much.
Thanks,
Awesome.
everyone.
Thank
All
you.
right. Bye for now.
Thank
Thanks,
you.
Dennis. Appreciate it.
Hey, you're welcome.
Thanks
Bring your
again.
boss. You betcha. You're welcome.
All right. Thank you, Dennis.
Oh, you're
Thank
welcome,
you.
Kurt. You're
Oh.
welcome, Shosanna.
Thank you, guys.